paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
You ever think about how that Batman meme is just out of work now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's too bad.
Like,
No one's
which
ever
one?
going to use that Batman slap meme ever again.
Yeah, dude, it's just it's literally just died today. Like,
Yeah.
like
R.I.P. Batman slap meme, 1967 to 2022.
Like, yeah, can we pour one out here? Like, and with that, everybody, welcome.
Oh my god. That's your all right, fine. I was recording, so I guess that's the intro we can do, but
Jason will allow it. And like that, everybody, welcome to Brainstorm Brewery. I'm Corbin Hostler, joined by Jason. As always, we have DJ Douglas Johnson back this week, and we have a guest who hails to us from some other side of the world that we don't know anything about. Jake Fitzsimons, what's up?
Hey, not too much. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. So everyone who doesn't know, Jake is active on the social medias. He is a writer for commandersherald.com. Does a lot of great content. Had a lot of articles do very, very well across sort of Twitter and Reddit and all
very
of that. Very
controversial subject on Reddit.
Yeah.
Some subreddits embrace his content.
Yeah.
Others outright ban him from participating.
Others not so much. Yeah, we'll see how that one turns out.
Welcome.
Comment pending.
We're just making inside jokes at the top of the cast.
Of course. Yeah.
Sometimes on Reddit, someone called a moderator didn't get laid in high school, and now you can't post your articles. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's
this will help
that's
your
basically
case.
my
This will help your
diagnosis.
case for sure. Yeah.
Am I not the best advocate for my writers? Is that what, are you implying that I could cause further problems for him with my intervention?
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
possibly.
Maybe. Well, welcome in. It's the evening for us. You live in, where is it for everyone at home?
Sydney, in Australia.
There you go, Sydney, Australia. So I think it's somehow both the same time and a different day for you right now.
Yep, I'm well ahead of you boys over there. I'm in the future.
But yet you're behind us. What time is it?
How could he be behind us?
Listen, what time is it?
I'm ahead of you. It's 10:52 a.m.
AM. It's
On a
6:52
Tuesday.
p.m. here. Checkmate.
PM here.
Atheists.
So we are ahead. Corbin, you're right.
Thank you. Checkmate.
Got him.
Overseas got him. What do you call got-ems in Australia?
Gothams as well.
Good. Well, you got
Oh, good. Yeah. I
that's
think
good.
we are ahead because here it's like 8 p.m. and in Australia it's 2016.
Yeah, there's also that. I mean, we sometimes get movie releases before you do. We got to see The Dark Knight. I think
you got
3
the
days before
unedited
you.
Oscars, so there you go.
Don't you guys win every New Year's countdown too?
Yeah, you better believe it.
We speed runned
Yeah,
2023.
any percent speed run.
The
But I mean,
yeah.
does it even matter? Each year just keeps being worse than the last. Every year since
yeah.
2019 has just been another exercise in torture. So what can you do?
2020 Australia was like, we get New Year's first and there's a fire.
Yeah, we've gone fires, pandemic, floods. It's been a ripper,
Oh,
really.
that pandemic must have sucked for you guys when you had 11 people got sick and then closed your border and then like
You know
everyone
what else you
wore a
got? You
mask
know what
and
else
wasn't
you
a
got in the
complete
pandemic? You got,
piece of shit.
you got the
Yeah,
universal.
we're about as lucky as it gets. Australia.
Yeah, you got the
sailed
universal
through it
health
pretty
care
quickly.
in there too.
You got New Zealand talking shit because they had 4 cases instead of 8.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, our challenges were
That's
just
just because most of the countries
nothing compared to the
counting.
rescue.
That's just because most of the countries counting had a map that didn't have New Zealand on it.
Well, New Zealand was just Australia in risk, right?
The continent is referred to
yeah.
collectively as Oceania, and it was
Right.
referred to that way for the 1990s, and I think that's it. I think they stopped doing that immediately.
I played a lot of Risk on like Windows 95.
Well, not in Risk. I mean,
Windows 2000, maybe.
in the 1990s geography textbook I had in college.
And they're still using that textbook here in Oklahoma. Welcome to the show, everybody. We are going to
What's
talk
the Soviet
magic.
Union?
That's actually, man, I did have books on the Soviet Union in high school.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, literally. But
Those books must have been funny because they're like David Hasselhoff intends to bring down the Berlin Wall with his music, and then everyone laughed, but then he went and did it.
I mean, in Oklahoma history ended probably after the fall of the Berlin Wall, and everything's been perfect since. So that's how history gets taught around here. But that's neither here nor there. Because
No, wait, Corbin, I have a fun trivia fact.
Oh my.
I was born 5 years after the Berlin Wall fell to the day.
It's very fun.
My birthday's on the anniversary of the Berlin Wall falling.
Well, we're glad you could make it here, Jake, whatever time it is for you. And before we move on to Breaking Bulk, I think Jason is breaking in here with a breaking news segment. Let's hear it.
So the segment that I came up with, I'm very creative. I thought, what if I had a beer? Right?
Bold.
So I reached out to the community for help. I was like, hey, I don't have any beers, but you have beers. What if you gave me a beer, and in exchange, I would shout out anything you wanted to shout out? Now, a couple people have sent in some beers just saying, hey, enjoy this beverage. Think of me while you enjoy it. And thanks for all the great interactions on Twitter and on this podcast. But Kyle Fleming from Columbus sent me a very nice package with some beers, including the one I'm drinking tonight. This is the Wild Tea Black Cherry Bourbon Barrel.
That sounds like an energy drink
tea.
at 7-Eleven.
It tastes like wine. It's very good. From the Wild Ohio Brewing Company in Columbus. Columbus being a hockey town where you can go and get absolutely obliterated on Columbus's beer. If you find yourself doing that, what if you headed over to the new restaurant called Drunchies that Kyle would like me to shout out? Drunchies is for drunk munchies. So after you watch the Columbus Blue Jackets absolutely get their doors blown off by, doesn't matter, everybody beats Columbus except Detroit. If you're, at the game, is the Columbus Crew good? Aren't they a good team? Yeah, you're at the Columbus Crew watching them win the soccer championship in 2008 or whenever they did it.
Sure, buddy.
If you're in Columbus drunk, head over to Drunchies. They have a cheeseburger that has a grilled cheese sandwich for both the top and bottom bun. That is America. I know you think like maybe a hot dog that tastes like apple pie would be the most American thing. A burger with grilled cheese sandwiches instead of buns is the most American thing.
That's pretty American.
Get your ass to Drunchies, sober up. Don't drive drunk. Get drunk, but don't
Uber.
Don't be a dick in public. Be like, I'm drunk at the hockey game, but I'm gonna just make it to Drunchies all not doing anything terrible, and then very responsibly eat about 800 or 900 calories, and then Uber back to wherever you're staying. I don't know what you're doing in Columbus. They have GPs there. We'll be in Columbus again, and when we do, we are going to check out Drunchies because people who work there send me delicious free beer. Thank you, Kyle Fleming, for the nice gift and the nice letter, and good luck selling food to drunk people in Columbus. That seems like a slam dunk, and best of luck to you. So yeah, I said I would shout out a thing, and I did.
There you go. Great segment.
Beers.
Thank you.
It's a good segment for me. I'm drinking.
On the topic of beers, though, I have a question. Jake, what is your favorite beer, and why is it Foster's?
Because Foster's is Australian for beer.
Thanks, Jason.
That was so vivid. Wow, that's a good...
They probably don't have that commercial down there.
No, they probably don't.
So, what's your favorite thing to order at Outback Steakhouse?
Beer.
I couldn't tell you the last time I've seen a Foster's, and I don't think I've actually ever had one. They might be great, but I just wouldn't know.
Wow.
They are never served anywhere. I've never heard anyone speak highly of them.
It's bad beer. It's marketed as being like... Remember Crocodile Dundee in the 80s?
Yeah, it trades
women
on all
like
that.
they're like, I think I would like to hook up with a guy with no muscle definition.
That randomly carries around a Bowie knife, yeah.
Yeah.
That's hot.
Foster's is the Crocodile Dundee of beers. People liked it in the 80s when they didn't know better.
Yeah, there you go. VB is our actual, common, a lot of people drink it, which is Victoria Bitter, and it's it's swill, it's piss, but it goes down alright.
I did not understand most of the words you just said in that context. Did you call it?
I feel like if we went to a foreign country, they'd be like, "Oh, we have the American beer, Pabst Blue Ribbon," and I think that's a lot like.
American beer is Yingling, but yeah, that's fine.
If you come to Australia, you can request a couple Green Demons, and you'll be handed VB tinnies and a couple of them, and you'll be all right.
VP? Did you say VP tinnies?
VB, which is Victoria Bitter.
Victoria
tinnies being tinned beer.
It's a can.
Yeah, a can of beer. Tinnies is what we call them.
They're called Green Demons.
I learned something new today.
Colloquially. I mean, if you walk into a bottle-o and say that, people will think you're sort of bunging it on a bit.
Okay, well, this is typically my strategy when I'm in foreign countries. If I, kind of know what I want, but I don't know how to do it, I would walk in and be like, hey, y'all, I'm American. Can y'all help me? Please? And then I'd get helped.
And then they give you a pizza with hot dogs on it. You're like, close enough.
Just saying, it's always.
I'm just picturing Corbin with spurs and a 10-gallon hat.
Well, so hang on. I'm curious. How much do you guys actually drink? What's that? Bud Light.
Bud Light.
That's the thing that you always say.
We don't touch it. We don't look. We don't touch it. Like Jason and I wouldn't touch it. However, all the basic people here in Oklahoma would drink the hell out of Bud Light.
It doesn't make sense to drink Bud Light. If you're going to drink Duck's beer, drink Milwaukee's Best or something
or Natty,
cheap.
Natty Light.
If you're going to drink good beer, drink good beer. Why would you ever drink Bud Light, which is more expensive than a beer as shitty as it is?
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, Jason. You may be interested to know this. I have a friend who works for Anheuser-Busch. They have bought a ton of breweries over the last 6 years. And there's all kinds of things you'd be like, oh yeah, that's a brewery I love, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? It's now made by Anheuser-Busch and wherever and bottled in
or
Oklahoma.
InBev or Heineken or just every small independent microbrewery in Michigan I used to like, except for two.
And I'm good for them getting paid.
Like Bell's was sold this year, and it's like, man, does everything have to suck during the pandemic? Because there's just a certain amount of people giving a shit about their jobs when they're working for an independent company that you just lose when you're working for Anheuser-Busch.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So are American beers, are they pretty good? Because I've always heard that
bad American beer is bad, but good American beer is good. Anytime America mass exports something, everyone's like, American food's all McDonald's. Well, no, we have bullshit, but we have good stuff too. It's the same thing with beer. Because
I've always heard that American beer's a lot like Sex on the Beach.
It's near water. That's because everybody from a Commonwealth country is dumb and doesn't know the difference between alcohol by weight and alcohol by volume. This is a true thing. Everyone's like, 5% alcohol by weight, that's nothing. But it's 5% ABV. So everyone does their calculation wrong. Of course, alcohol by volume is going to be a lower percentage than alcohol by weight.
Yeah, I get
because alcohol doesn't have a density of 1.0 like water does.
That
Come
you're
on,
wrong,
everybody.
But no one's ever heard this before. It's
a real thing, man.
Okay.
We measure alcohol by volume. Commonwealth countries measure alcohol by weight.
The point is, yes,
we're superior.
The United States, actually, I would say beer is one of the things that truly does excel at, simply because of the raw numbers. There's thousands of independent breweries across the country, in addition
in the 1970s,
large established
Jimmy Carter
company.
legalized home brewing and giving your home brew to other people and not getting you can't make your own raw milk, but you can make your own beer. Thanks, Jimmy Carter. So,
Australia's supposed to have pretty good beer, but I just wouldn't know. I don't have a refined enough palate. Beer's beer to me. I have some that I like, some I don't. But anytime I have that complicated IPA stuff, I just want it to taste like beer. I don't need 16 different fruity flavors and hey, this one's a Mexican chili bean fart pants something.
Let me tell you about hops. You hear about hops? You want some more hops in your hops?
Yeah. The moment this conversation starts, my brain switches off. It's how I feel like everyone else around me feels when I start talking about magic.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you what, we won't. These guys won't have anything to say because they never get mine, but it's time for Breaking Bolt.
Breaking Bolt time. Breaking Bolt time. Break.
Oh
Oh yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking Bulk. The end.
Who wants to go first? DJ, you're back this week. You want to...
Are you going to go last, Corbin, because you're going to blow us away with your great pick?
Well, I typically win regardless of where I go.
I have a Ravnica Black Common.
Nope.
What do you mean, nope? What does that mean?
I started to say something I realized was from the wrong Ravnica set.
Cool. You did
That's-
it, Corbin. What color is this card, pray tell?
I said black.
You didn't give... You said a black common?
I meant what creature type? Jesus. It's not stinky, is it? Is this got
It's not
multiple
Stinkweed
printings?
Imp.
Does it has multiple printings or just one?
Golgari Thug. Oh, you said...
Golgari Thug's uncommon.
You said common, DJ? Is that true?
I did say common.
Okay.
Is it Brain Spoil?
It has one printing. It's not Brain Spoil.
Jesus.
Probably a good guess.
I thought this had two printings, but it's only one.
Does it have a keyword ability?
Yep.
Is it Dredge?
No.
Is it Transmute?
Yes.
Yeah, but...
And it's not Brain Spoil.
But it's not Brain Spoil?
Correct.
Is it... There's another... what's the other...
The creatures are uncommon, like Netherborn Phalanx is uncommon. I can't think of a common.
Whatever this is, I swear it's played in a Crick deck.
Probably.
Is it... Oh, what is the name of that card?
I used to
is it
play
Demir? Is it Demir Houseguard?
Yep.
Hey!
Yes!
Good job.
Oh,
Houseguard-
yes!
Isn't that black and blue?
Despite being Demir.
You might be thinking
No,
of
it's
Demir
just-
Infiltrator.
Oh, the skeleton that transmutes for 4.
Yep. It's
Yeah,
the
we used to
4-mana
play that to go find Damnation. Yeah, that was
That's
a-
actually
that
pretty
was a
weird
card.
to have a mono black card specifically
Named
be called Demir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Transmute's
is,
a cool mechanic.
I used to play this in Savra because it would tutor a lot of just, like, useful stuff, and then it's also a free sack outlet.
Yeah. It's a
and-
4-mana transmute. That seems pretty good.
It makes the coolest loops in Crick. It's such a cool card.
It's like
It's a
80
nice sack
cents.
outlet.
It's like 80 cents to $1-ish. The foils are like 10.
Yeah, old foils kind of went nuts over the pandemic, and that was like the one thing. Like all the dumb reserve list stuff is starting to tail back off, but like every Mercadian Masks rare foil is like $15 now.
They're like
It's
impossible
just-
to actually sell though.
Yeah, that makes
I bet
sense.
it looks great in foil. That art is awesome.
Oh,
this
yeah,
was
like-
a-
Like Odyssey and Onslaught foils just look so good, but they have to be clean.
and good luck. They come out of the pack dirty. Cool.
All right. Jason, you ready?
Yeah. This is predicated on Broker's Ascendancy, if that helps.
It doesn't.
This is a Champions of Kamigawa artifact. And it's uncommon.
I'm looking
And
up
it's
Broker's
never been
Ascendancy, not the
cheaper.
card.
Is it
Shuko.
Shuko. Hey, you said it at the same time. Well, I think that's
Shaku?
I think that's
Honor Worn
uncommon.
Shaku? Yeah.
No. Shuko. It's like
Shuko.
Shuko is from Betrayers of Kamigawa.
That's from
the one with
Betrayers.
hand-
That
Oh, my
equipment?
My bad.
No, it is not.
Yeah,
Shaku.
Jake, how could you
Shaku.
ever think that was the one? Gosh.
Oh, I know so little.
The only thing you don't know is how often Corbin gets the set wrong when in this game, because it's a lot.
Never.
Well, I'm
Oh,
sure
that's
I'll
Urza's
do it more.
Gears. Not Urzameyer.
I'll be
Flash.
like, I'll be like, it's a Lorwyn Black Common, and Corbin will be like, Rancor, and we'll be like, so close, buddy.
That's DJ's exaggerating a little bit. Calm down. Don't exaggerate 5% like you're currently doing. Corbin, now you're being on a little bit, man. Now it's time to redeem yourself with an unguessable breaking bulk.
Wait, so what was yours?
What was
Was it Honor
yours?
Yeah,
Honor
I
Worn
didn't think we got it.
Shaku, baby.
Oh, we did get it. Oh, okay. We got it with the wrong guess by saying
No,
Shuko.
we did it.
Yeah.
We did it, for sure.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys did
Say
it.
things that sound like other things.
Yeah, I've got a colorless uncommon from Kamigawa, Neon Dynasty.
Is it the?
Oh, it's it the thing, the one card anybody cares about.
I was gonna say
the
the land that draws
construct-
cards for enchantments and artifacts.
No,
that's
it's
a nice one. Sideway Reliquary or something like that.
it's not the Reliquary land.
Roadside
no. Roadside
Reliquary.
Reliquary. It's
Roadside.
No, it's the creature, the containment construct or whatever.
Nope.
Ooh.
Really? I thought you were
Right.
going like full tilt obvious. Is there even another uncommon? Is it? You said artifact or colorless?
Colorless.
So is it?
Is it the?
And it's
the
not.
other, is it
the-
the other
I got
land?
nothing.
Is it like the unclaimed territory land?
Yes, it is, DJ.
Okay.
Secluded Courtyard. There
oh, I like that card. Shit.
There are exactly 3 cards in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty worth picking at the common and uncommon slot right now. I would say you should probably pick Experimental Synthesizer and hold them, etc. But Secluded Courtyard, Jason got the other one, Containment Construct, and Jukai Naturalist, the green-white enchantment card. Those are currently the only 3 picks if you've got Kamigawa that you opened.
Jukai Naturalist isn't great.
It's-
I feel like I know more about playing Enchantress than I do about zombies. So every time I see a zombie lord, I'm like, that'll be a $4 card forever. It's a zombie lord. And then they print Jukai Naturalist. I'm like, I would be so embarrassed to put this in my deck. So
You really?
I don't know.
It
Maybe this
discounts, man. That card's great.
It's got lifelink. That's super.
I mean, I
duper
think the
relevant.
most relevant part is the fact that it's a discount card that is an enchantment itself. Like all
Itself,
the other, what's it? Starfield Mystic, I think, is the other one. That one's like not an enchantment, so you don't get to chain it with all your other Enchantress effect. But this one, like, you pay 2 for it, and then you draw 4 cards, so like it's fine.
While Jason enjoys his beer, we want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this podcast, MtGstocks.com. It is the best place to go for all of the breaking bulk we talked about, for all of the picks of the week we're going to get to later in the show. This is how you find all the moving prices. And look, we were talking about this before the show. As the Magic market sort of gets moving post-pandemic here, we've seen a lot of wild stuff happen with prices, and we're going to continue to see it. MtGstocks.com is the best place to keep up with that, including their premium features. So next thing we want to talk about is, Jake, let's hear about how you've broken the internet once or twice with some Commander articles over the last 6 months.
big thick booty, right? I thought
No, that wasn't what I was going for, but that's
Yeah, it was
close.
mostly the thirst trap posts, frankly.
Yeah, I thought that was how you broke the internet. You're
My
just
bad.
like, look at me, I had plastic surgery on my ass. Isn't it big? And they're like, yep. And then the internet breaks.
Look, I'll be the first to admit that any success I've had in the Magic scene has come from my enormous booty. But I think what Corbin's talking about is an article that I did for Commander's Herald 6 months ago now. No, it can't have been that long. Talking about how we need more reasons to play monocolor decks in Commander. And I was really surprised with the response for that, because that was something I talked about with mates and we sort of collectively agreed on it, but no one was really that interested in playing monocolor decks to begin with. And, or at least the people that I play with weren't. I am, but I just, every single time new Commander came out and I started working on a monocolor deck, I just kept running into the same issues, which is fine. You know, restrictions breed creativity and all those classic things that
Listen,
you say.
you don't have
but
to listen to Mark. Like, Mark Rosewater has that above his board, like a Ted Lasso thing.
but it's just
Like,
it's
you
just
don't
because
have to.
I know you don't, but it's just become the go-to thing anytime. I see so many responses on my articles and anyone's articles. Basically, any comment anyone makes, people go, hold on. Restrictions breed creativity, which is fine in principle, and I get where you're going.
It makes
where he
Magic
goes with
players
it.
feel very, very smart to say.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it sounds good. It's a good catchphrase, and it works insofar as that if you have unlimited choices, that's sort of its own restriction because you don't have anything you're going
look,
toward. But
DJ's right. If you ever want to work at Wizards of the Coast, you have to slap that motto on your way out.
I'm just picturing Mark, like, Rosewater, like, trying to jump to hit it above the door frame.
We're making, I think, American college football references. This is just maybe completely lost on Jake. Is that a
Ted
thing?
Lasso is...
yeah, but I'm good at smiling and laughing. along.
I was like kind of thinking like Notre Dame, but yeah. With the anyway, moving on. You've done a lot of great content though. In that time, what have you learned? I guess because you have been bold. You've ventured deep into Reddit, deep into Twitter. You are very active across all of this, and you're certainly not as jaded as the three of us are. So, I don't know. What's it just been like for you since you've sort of entertained this role as a content creator where you're writing some stuff that gets some people talking and, gets some strong opinions coming out?
It's pretty interesting. It takes sort of, I've only sort of been creating content properly for about a year now, but for a really long time before that, I was sort of the guy in the comments on an article writing half an essay myself and sort of making really long Reddit posts. So I already had a little bit of experience with responding to people that think you're a complete moron and act as though they hate your guts and think you've got nothing good to say. But if anything, it's been a little bit of an exercise in self-control. Like you do find it's fine. Like there's no shortage of good, decent, constructive criticism, which is always the best to get. Like I'm most interested in someone saying, "Hey, I like this idea, but I have a different thought, something interesting." That's better than getting someone who either totally agrees or thinks that you're the worst thing since Hitler. But
or they don't understand what you wrote, but they have like real strong opinions about. That's magic content creation is me being condescended to by people who weren't smart enough to like grasp what I wrote, and you just have to be nice, and it's hard to do.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it can be hard, especially when you feel as though you're either being willfully misinterpreted or someone just genuinely isn't grasping what you're getting at. And I think what I've learned even before content creation is that it's almost never worth the time to engage, particularly if you sense from the get-go that whoever you're talking with is not actually trying to reach a middle ground with you. They just want to talk over the top of you, or like one of the things that I find so tedious, and you just have to disengage entirely, is when someone finds this like a sentence or a specific phrase you've used and they turn that into their like an entire disposition about how awful your opinions are. And no amount of, hey, listen, it's just like a tiny throwaway comment actually calls the dogs off. So yeah, learning to disengage and not wade into it has been sort of the biggest challenge. And I don't always succeed at it. Sometimes it's just, sometimes I just lack the self-control.
Yeah, manager. We should have I heard you had some trouble on Reddit today.
Yes, I used a forbidden word, and I thought I was using it in a context that, I was not the forbidden word that I'm referring to. I wasn't condoning them, wasn't advocating for them, wasn't bragging about them, wasn't telling people where to get them. They do exist. Corbin said it,
JJ
not
has
me.
To censor that. Thank you, Corbin.
JJ, please beep that out.
Editors
Anytime
will deal with that in post.
Please bleep out us saying.
Yes,
but leave me saying pause, so you're like, what is he saying?
Yeah. Well, so yes, apparently even just mentioning them when someone asks how can people play a format where a deck can easily cost $20,000. Apparently that's not allowed, which is a real shame because I totally understand if certain spaces and groups don't want anyone advocating them. That's perfectly reasonable. But to have it be tantamount to Voldemort, where everybody in the room sort of shudders and looks at you when you use them, is very strange to me. Particularly given that, it's just...
Welcome to the magic internet. Yep.
Well, also, the truth of it is that just welcome to the internet. There's not a community around that doesn't have endless fights and a constant war between people that produce content and people that moderate content spaces. The whole thing is actually just a total waking nightmare. I, like so many people, am addicted to...
There are weird nerds in the mix too, right? Can't forget them.
Oh, yeah, the whole thing is compounded by the fact that this is social media, and Magic, I don't know if you've noticed, sometimes has antisocial people gravitate towards it, so there can be a little bit of friction there.
My favorite thing about pro Twitter is that they all tweet about using like they're stealing bread for underfed orphans. They're like, I fight the power. It's so funny.
Clap.
It's hilarious.
Emoji.
Jean Valjean over here.
Yeah. They're like, this card game is so unaffordable, and I use my printer with pride. It's so funny.
Yeah,
this is my whole personality.
I'm amazed, but I'm like, this is one of the things that I find so amazing and why I'm so sort of shocked at the response to it is that I don't understand how it has become such a sort of badge of honor on both sides. I like people seriously, like you say, and it's reasonable mocking. Like people rally around it, and it's if you don't like proxies, that is totally cool. And if you do like proxies, I also think that is totally cool. It's kind of up to you, but it's become this sort of internal culture war, and it's I don't know. It's partially lost on me, but it's also just nauseating. It's nauseating.
So I have like a unique perspective on this
go ahead,
because
okay.
I'll tweet about like selling expensive cards sometimes, and I've been quote tweeted before saying like somebody's spending $800 on a Gaia's Cradle when this anime titty one works just fine. And then I have like 6 people in my DMs who are like, can I please get that Gaia's Cradle? That's the cheapest one on the market. Like I desperately want to give you $1,000 for it right now. And then like, it's just such a dichotomy of like somebody who like just nauseates at the concept of spending that much on a Magic card. And then I have like people with like the Fry Futurama meme, like shut up and take my money.
Yep. It's weird that it's become such a thing, and I'm kind of...
You only need one person to want your card.
Look, this may be a bit of a hot take. I think that a lot of that sort of entrenched debate is a little bit of an internet phenomenon. I don't think I've ever sat down at a table with somebody in a casual game of Commander and somebody been like, hey, some of my cards are... Is that okay?
But no one's ever like, oh, my $3 card was in another deck. It's always a Gaia's Cradle. Like, we get it. But like, nobody's like, except if it's like for a design reason. I have because I took out a version of the card to play a community designed proxy.
Well, like anytime somebody has a $3 proxy, there's 90 other proxies with it, and it's like their 4-color Timna pile.
And then, and the problem is the people. The proxy.
The problem is the people. It's not the concept of proxying. It's how 100% of people.
But of course, online there's no nuance, right? So if you are,
I was about to say, finish that sentence, Jason.
Yeah, if you are pro proxy at all on the internet, then you are, of course. And I'm against the entire. Like, we want to talk about actual proxy cards. Fine, we're talking about counterfeits.
Why are we talking about...
Then it's a completely
I had a 10-minute conversation with Jake about how we don't talk about proxies, and they're like, no, let's save it for an hour from now.
Yeah, you did, kind of. But yeah, I mean, like, I agree with what you're saying where oftentimes you see like a proxy...
cardboard. Everything I do, I'm in the business of selling cardboard.
Well, I mean, I suppose inadvertently, by extension, so am I. I mean, I'm not... I don't know. I'm just advocating for people to do what they want. I just don't think that it matters all that much if like the simple kind of thing of like, hey, I have 6 copies of Sol Ring, but I've just built a 7th deck. Let me scribble the words Sol Ring onto a token and stick it in the deck. And I also don't think that it's not actually necessarily a problem if you do the same thing writing Gaia's Cradle on it. It only becomes a problem to me, specifically to me, is if you're doing that in a play group where your opponents are playing like Evolving Wilds. Like that's, and again, that's not the issue of the proxy, but the proxy, by removing the price barrier whatsoever, sort of highlights one of the, not flaws, but
right, but you're telling me that person, I'm saying that, like, that person would find another way to...
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the other thing, is that anyone who actually has bad intentions and is willing to sort of play EDH in a way that is purely for the sake of winning and has no care for the people they're playing with. I mean, in a lot of ways, that's sort of a self-solving problem, because that person's going to end up with very few friends and no one who's actually willing to play with them. Also going to be no matter what.
Yep, exactly. There you go. For more takes like this, go check out Jake Fitzsimons' column on Commander's Herald. That was great. All right, next up, it has been all of a week or two since Kamigawa came out, so it's time for the next set. On to New Capenna. Right? That's how it works these days. So, in fitting with that...
it's too much.
Yeah, I know.
I know I say this every month.
I know.
But every single month I say this, and I'm turning into a bit of a broken record, but the 3 new products that came out this month was too much.
Yeah, there's been a lot. So anyways, we've got... it's time for New Capenna. We got Demons Racing Cars or something like that. It should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Mark Rosewater put out his typical, and this is a good use of the internet here, his typical Blogatog preview. We've got teasers of some of the cards you can expect in New Capenna. So we want to read through this and kind of just brainstorm, see if we can say anything that sounds smart later on and remember it, and anything we say that sounds dumb, and we'll forget about it.
So this is my favorite part, and by favorite, I mean only part I enjoy of preview season. Mark Rosewater, just every new standard legal set will, I think he's done it for Commander Legends and stuff like that too, but he will give partial information, generally just 1 to 2 sentences about an attribute about a card. Generally, it's something we've never seen before, or just something that is brand new to the game. My favorite example of this is from the original Theros. He said there's a Future Sight card being reprinted, and everybody thought it was Tarmogoyf, and then it was Nessian Courser, which is a vanilla 3/3, which excellent content, very good.
Agreed.
The people that talk to you like you were such a goddamn moron for not thinking it was Tarmogoyf was just... And if it had been Tarmogoyf, those would be $11 right now.
It's not too far off. It's like 18 or 19.
Pretty cheap, man.
It's a wild world we live in. But here's the list. We have 5 mana costs using existing mana symbols that we've never seen before. So these are cards that their specific mana cost is something we've never seen before. Presumably a cycle. Could be like blue, and then 5.
Or it could be like, well, this is a shard.
I'd be happy
set,
with
right?
that. That sounds awesome.
It could be like an ultimatum mana.
Yeah, tricolor set. It could be like triple of the 3 colors.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, there is a card that adds white, blue, black, red, green. So
yeah, it makes
There's
sense.
a couple of those.
They
Yeah.
pair nicely.
A spell that costs 13 BB, so 13 black. Presumably has some sort of cost reduction mechanic.
Or it just ends the game.
So my pick now, whatever it is, it wouldn't even matter if by casting it you lost the game. It's going to be playable in Yuriko, because right now Yuriko plays Blink Moth Infusion, which it never casts ever under any circumstances. It just tutors it to the top, and Yuriko's got access to Draco, but Draco's a bit clunkier because not having
Draco's
a color.
not clunky. That's a pick of the week tier card.
It's an awesome card, but it can get a bit troublesome when you can't pitch it to stuff.
Yuriko is troublesome. I hate that card.
Yeah, Yuriko's a huge design mistake and my favorite commander ever.
And so, these are usually tidbits of information that can be used to deduce future picks of the week. Another favorite example of mine is, I think it was Ikoria, was a card that says +20/+20, or maybe it was a core set, but it was Colossification, and it's... enchanted creature gets +20/+20. Obviously, that card is not competitively valuable at all, but it made me buy a bunch of Academy Researchers, which is the card that plays an aura from your hand immediately. And so I still have those because I picked them up for less than 5 to 10 cents a piece. And eventually they will print another. Maybe this 13 black card is an aura. I don't know, but the point is that these
anything lets you cheat. Yeah,
these tidbits of information generally give you a bit of foresight before everyone else into some sort of weird niche effect that has never been seen before, and then you can usually find a card printed in the past 15 to 20 years that has some sort of interaction with that effect, regardless if it's competitively viable.
Yep.
Good point.
And we've speculated more before. I thought that the blue, black, red mechanic probably won't be on Earth because they're like Triome is a lounge, and you would never let reanimated corpses hang out in a lounge.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's really solid logic on my part, and it's total BS. And that's what we do this time of year.
It's
because
fun.
The time between them telling us the name of the set and fully spoiling it is about 2 weeks.
Yep. All right. A creature type theme for a draft archetype.
Oh, you skipped one.
Never been used before. We can go back to it, sorry. That's probably rats, if I was to guess. Something boring like that. DJ saying... a mechanic we've tried to get in numerous sets finally finds a home. I'm
a bit scared of this one because, that's the same thing that happened with energy. Mark Rosewater just had, a boner for energy for 20 years, and he's like, yeah, we printed it, and then it broke everything, so,
Actually, a Randy Bueller mechanic, I think.
That is true of cycling. A mechanic we have tried to get in numerous sets finally finds a home on 5 cards and 5 cards only.
That's true. That is the hijinks. Technically true kind of.
Yep.
Gimmicky
And they said they were
goal.
going to make cycling deciduous from now on.
Deciduous meaning that it's in not any particular blocker set. So deciduous
just
was
like most of them.
it's like
Just
flying,
a thing,
right?
Yep.
Well, it's not like flying because flying.
No,
is evergreen.
flying's evergreen,
Deciduous is
yeah.
like
Not evergreen, just there's
Close.
no reason not to put it in.
This
a
is
set.
the worst conversation. This is why jargon is terrible. Just for the
I
record.
mean, like
Sure.
There's so much stuff that they make
Accurate.
up to have conversations internally. It was like, I need a new French vanilla. And then, like, I got to know what French vanilla is now. I got to know that a green-black creature could have flying and vigilance.
Oh, man.
so we have a red creature that can make token copies of creatures you control. That's not particularly new.
That's brand new. Is his name Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker?
Like
Yeah, it's weird that that's included like that.
What's
Reflections
the
of Kiki Jiki.
what's the red spell like that? It's like Molten Echoes or something like that.
There's a
That's
bunch.
an enchantment.
What,
There's
just like
Heat
Twin
Shimmer. Are you
Flame?
thinking Heat Shimmer?
Heat Shimmer is one.
The one that goes infinite with dual
Twin
cast
Flame and
abilities?
Heat Shimmer both
There's
go
like
with
an enchantment
dual
from
caster.
Ravnica Allegiance that does it with coin flips.
Sure.
There's like
Oh
a lot
yeah,
of them.
that's
Mirror Match or Mirror March.
Yeah, something like that.
Well,
and then-
whatever this is, it's going to be. I can't imagine that's not something that easily goes infinite with Dockside. It wouldn't surprise me if it's like whatever Kiki Jiki they almost found its way into Kamigawa, but maybe got pushed out at the last
they
moment. I was
put-
kind of surprised.
They
Oh,
put
you're
that
right.
in-
They had the saga. And
And the
that slips
saga
into it.
apparently is. Here's a finance tip.
It's
People
good.
are really hot on that saga, and they
It's
think
very powerful.
Yep, picking it up for like $1 right now makes sense to people.
A card that costs door to nothingness mana. So
That's cool.
sure. A mechanic which first premiered in a standard legal set in the 2000s sees a return to standard.
Oh boy,
That's-
you know what it is? It's
Wow.
the one where you have to
24 sets
discard.
or something to choose from.
No, the one on like Corlash that you have to discard a card with the same name.
Oh, that would be
Grandeur,
Oh, that would
yeah.
be
Grandeur.
awesome.
Grandeur.
I mean, it's
That's-
kind of
it's
useless
coming
for
back.
EDH.
That
but
was first
Sick.
premiered in a standard legal set. No, it's
Sure.
A
Are we
card
calling
that
them
makes...
the aughts? Are we calling them the zeros? Are we calling them the decade where everybody thought Nickelback was fine and then
The
pretended they
aughts.
didn't? Like,
The
what do we
aughts.
call the zeros?
The early
Naughties.
21st century.
the naughties,
Next up, a card that makes cat and dog tokens.
which is also not new. Rin and Seri came out like 18 months ago or something.
It's just now there's another one. A draft thing caring about a threshold in the graveyard we haven't cared about before.
Ooh, guess what I
New
haven't cared
threshold.
about? Drafting in 2 years. I haven't cared about drafting in a long time.
I have.
Yeah,
So what do
'cause
we
you
think
play
that means?
Arena.
Well, it could be. So they've done card types with Delirium. They've done number of cards with
I
Threshold.
think empty
They've done
empty graveyard.
Threshold,
I think
yeah.
empty
Empty
graveyard could be
graveyard.
it. Like
you have no
this
cards
card gets
Ooh.
graveyard.
+2/+2 if your graveyard is empty.
You have dead people
Okay.
madness.
But wait, how can that be sustainable? Like in a draft environment, how can you keep your graveyard clear long term?
you
Exactly.
run cards that clear your graveyard out.
I was gonna say
Processors.
like there's presumably some number of like Bojuka Bog-esque interactions or like exile costs from your graveyard like or activated abilities like tap exile X cards from your own graveyard. Do
It
the
could
thing.
also just be like.
I mean, even Delve sort of does it. I'm here for it. I really think Magic actually needs more grave hate.
Yeah, well, there is quite a bit of it.
Better.
Sort of, listen, there's quite a bit of across the world of Magic, but the problem is all of it is so difficult to main deck. That it
Yeah.
becomes
It's
really
traditionally
difficult
very
to
narrow or
balance.
bannable like Death Ray Shaman.
Yeah, it's just very very
Yeah.
difficult to balance.
Well, yeah, and in
by
EDH,
virtue
you
of
tend
the way
not to
those
see
work.
people running stuff like you don't see Rip and Tormod's Crypt and stuff like that very often. Unless
People should
they're
play
really
more
spiky decks.
interaction.
They got those bajukes, baby. I get bajuked all day. I
Yeah,
get
Bajuka
bajuked on
Bog.
turn 3, baby.
The Jukabog is the drain.
I am a very big fan of Crypt Incursion as a card. Completely unrelated, but that is a Dragon's
Crypt
Maze
Incur-
card.
Is that
that's
the
a sick
Dragon's
card.
Maze?
That
3
card's
drop That,
insane.
like,
Yeah. Used to show up in modern mill lists.
3
Maybe
mana
it still does. I
instant,
haven't paid
exile
attention
all
to modern
creatures
for
from
a while.
target player's graveyard. You gain 3 life for each one. That gains you like 60 life a lot.
You mill
Yeah.
you mill them in modern, and then you gain 18 life.
Crypt
or whatever,
Incursion, I
and you
think,
don't
is the
die.
only. There was a period where Crypt Incursion was the only pick from Dragon's Maze.
That's probably true.
I don't think that's true because Wear and Tear has never been bad.
Probably close to true though. You know.
Yeah,
All right.
wear and tear.
Next
Close
up,
though. It's close.
multiple white cards.
Maybe it's the only common. That's what I was thinking of.
Maybe.
Multiple white cards capable of drawing a card each turn.
Sure.
Oh, good.
Neato.
More secret rendezvous. Sure.
Yeah. Rules text we've got coming up. If you control 10 or more creatures, you may play the exile card without paying its mana cost. So that's an interesting one.
That's brand
Probably
That'll be
tied to a-
hideaway. That'll be the hideaway thing, right?
Yeah, probably. Or tied to like a Fiend Hunter type card, you know. They've done a bunch of those recently.
I'm praying because of the way that it seems like not basic, but monocolor land design is going these days. I'm really hoping that the hideaway lands come in untapped. Like we were talking about, like how monocolor needs better.
Not
things.
every game needs to be 3 turns, Mr. CEDH.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I knew that'd come up. Nice try, Jason.
Those would be good
I'm
for
talking
my
about
modern
what would
decks.
actually help. You think about how in how little utility a monocolor deck can get an EDH out of its land base. I mean, yeah, there's some halfway decent
It's true.
colorless
It's
cards, but make them not colorless. Give good utility that makes one color. Seriously, like my hot take, that's where I want to see land bases go in the future. I want it to be that you got to work hard if you want multiple colors. If you're happy to stick with just one color, you can get more mileage out of your mana base. It can do a bit more for you than just produce mana. Because also I think that without that, the future of EDH is that monocolor increasingly gets to a point where, and I think it's almost at this point now, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
I don't disagree.
But you know, like we've said, restrictions they breed creativity.
Do
They don't even have good monocolor rocks. People are running Arcane Signet in monocolor decks.
I would like to see more reward for basic land count instead.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm totally with that as well. The Eldraine lands are awesome. That Mystic Sanctuary is so much better than the other 4, but that's such a great concept. Like it really rewards you for going hard on the thing. The only problem is actually how does it work with Urborg and Yavimaya? If I put in the red or the green or black one, does it see them as forests? It does, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Okay.
It does need you to say basic on the like. There will be times where it's like you need to have X basic forest.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Not just necessarily X number of plains or islands or whatever. Yeah.
Create a 1/1 blue fish creature token.
That's going to be the Sleep with the Fishes reference for sure. It's got to be.
Probably.
It'll be the Raven form of this set.
No more universal removal for blue, please.
They got to be stopped. There's more for blue than there is for like any other color at this point. It's crazy.
Somehow blue manages to have the cheapest best removal in EDH. Rapid hybridization and Pongify.
Aren't you glad to have a 3/3? Yeah.
Yeah, you better believe it. That's
Cards that were made-
however
cards that
many
were made
turn
for
clocks.
We're sick
I
of
can't do
blue
maths.
needing to play other. Listen, you're over here. You're like, I think mono decks should be stronger. And they're like, well, blue doesn't need another color now that they have creature removal. And you're like, not like this.
Damn right, not like this.
Fitzsimons?
Blue in general, I reckon we could take about 5 years off. No more basic islands. No more blue cards. Just give us the other 4 colors.
Just
Actually,
let
no,
the other four
green.
colors catch up to blue. Yeah.
Green has had its time in the sun
rotate
as
colors.
well.
Add a 6
And even-
color and rotate them.
What
Yeah, there you
if
go.
blue
Bring in purple.
sucked?
Add
Yeah,
a 6
what if
color and
blue
rotate
sucked?
the colors.
Imagine a world where playing islands was cringe.
It's this one. Everyone's like, oh,
It's
boy.
this one, yep. All right, so it looks like the rest of these deal with sacrificing things, or we've got
Or
a
their
lot of
creature
copies.
types, which are worth reading.
Yeah, we'll get to those. So we've got a lot of cards that seem to care about sacrificing, and a lot of cards that care about copies, and cards that care about, like, for instance, copy target spell you control that wasn't cast. I'm not quite sure about that one. Because even spells you cast without paying their mana cost were cast.
Right, but copies aren't generally. Sometimes
copies
they are,
themselves,
but not all,
right?
not all the
Correct.
time.
So this is copying copies, essentially, is what the subtext of that line is, right? Since that's the only way to get a spell on the stack to then copy it. Again, yeah. Very interesting.
That's I don't like that card from like teaching a new player how
Me
to
neither.
cast
Yeah,
that
that's
card.
that is complicated.
I don't know
Co-
what
copies
that's
in
going to
general
refer
are
to, but I don't
complicated.
like it. Maybe it'll be like maybe whatever mechanic we haven't seen is going to be the thing that makes it make sense or whatever. That's possible, but for now, yeah. All right, so here's some creature types. Tell me if any of these jump out to you all. Devil Warrior.
Boring.
Raccoon Rogue. That one is not boring.
Could be promising.
Very cool.
Could be
Very
the
cool.
rogue.
It'll
I
be
like
a
Rogue.
Rocket Raccoon secret lair for sure.
Maybe. I'm with DJ, though. Rogues and looking at Morningtide era cards that are rogues is probably not the worst idea.
So it's a raccoon fairy, is that what you're saying?
I don't know. There's a bunch of
Bird
rogues.
assassin. There's the Elden Ring reference.
Your
Do
bird
you
assassin,
kill
yeah.
birds or are you a bird who assassinates? I need to know.
You're
Are
both.
you a bird assassin or a
You're
bird
both.
assassin?
You've turned against your own kind. You're the most efficient bird killer there is because you know how to think and act like one.
Is it a bird assassin or a bird assassin?
Greatest, most dangerous game, you know. The questions that need to be answered. Next up is a plant dinosaur.
Very cool.
Yep. Sure,
Very
whatever,
cool indeed.
Whatever, I guess. A treasure dog. That's an
Even
artifact
cooler.
creature. I'm into that. I hope
They
that's
make
a
you sacrifice it though for mana.
I hope it's like
Good.
a
No,
simulacrum type card.
Didn't
that goes
someone
with
make a
everything.
Reddit post where the whole deck worked by sacrificing dogs?
What if it's like when treasure dog comes into play, make a treasure. When it dies, draw a card, and it costs like 3 generic mana.
When it was in Kaladesh, are you describing the card that exists?
Now that one gains
that sounds like
life.
filigree
That one gains
familiar,
life.
right?
It doesn't make mana. That one doesn't make mana. It gains life.
All right.
And it wasn't a treasure dog. Next up is an angel warrior. Then
Boring.
The specific
boring,
part about
boring.
the angel is that it's an artifact, so it's an artifact angel warrior.
Oh,
Like,
okay. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's a
Angel
bit
warrior's
cooler.
not particularly new. But
That's a bit cooler.
Yeah, and to be fair, he doesn't say these are new creature type lines, just creature type
Just
lines,
interesting
although I think
ones.
they're new.
Yeah.
Legendary creatures are next. Sphinx Demon, Cat Citizen, Cephalid Advisor, Vampire Demon Noble.
Are you someone who advises cephalids?
Jesus,
Jason. I need to know. Are you a cephalid advisor or a cephalid advisor?
I love that in a game with Sphinx demons and vampire demon nobles, you can also just have a cat that lives in a society.
Citizen.
A cat
Like,
citizen, yeah.
what faction are you from, Cat? He's like, meow, just hanging out doing cat stuff.
Puss in Boots 2 Secret Lair.
Oh gosh.
Oh, the crossover.
I got tagged on
Hello,
I got
am
tagged
just
on
a
Twitter
citizen.
today because somebody was putting a tweet around calling for the Goosebumps secret lair. So someone tagged me and the authors of Animorphs because they know I'm a big fan and was like, "Please make this happen." And I'm like, I don't do that.
All the Animorphs creatures have Megamorph, and it'll be the worst secret lair ever.
Actually, I just thinking
Corbin's
about it.
face on it.
Just thinking about it would be pretty cool. You could have the human side of the kids on the front side. They transform into their battle morphs.
I would
It'd
buy
be
a secret
pretty
lair that
cool.
I would buy a secret lair that had Tapito Claws turning into a Death Mist Raptor. It's like a holographic, and you like tilt it in the light, and it's
Secret lair
You
community
peel,
members.
You peel the
no, they won't do
mischief
that.
sticker off of it, and you see them transformed.
Yep. So there you go. Streets of New Capenna is about a week away. So enjoy that. Enjoy your week of Kamigawa, and then forget about it for another 15
Oh my
years.
god, the previews start on April 7th.
Before we get out of here this week, let's finish with some pick of the week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
I'm going to go first. I'm not going to go first. Mine went away. One of you can go first.
Wow. So you know how I like to not really support my stuff with data 7 weeks a year, and then 45 I'm like, I must have data. We're on a not data week. This is pure speculation. Broker's Ascendancy says that you put counters on your creatures and counters on your planeswalkers. What if some sort of planeswalker deck becomes viable because of one of the commanders in New Capenna? What if we just get enough cards that care about putting counters on planeswalkers to give us some sort of I don't know, some sort of planeswalker Super Friends deck? The point is, Chainveil has never been cheaper. The Chainveil was on the list. This was a $75 card or something stupid like that, and then they gave it a list printing, and its price plummeted. Chainveil's never been cheaper. Chainveil does not belong at $10. I don't care how many extra copies the list put out there. The Chainveil will always be good. It'll always enable a couple of infinite combos with a couple of other planeswalkers, which means they don't think about it carefully enough and there could be a third one. If they have another commander that goes, commander obviously, but another planeswalker that goes infinite with Chain Veil, this card's going to go right back up. So I really like it at its current under $15.
I don't.
So
Can I jump? Can I just jump in quickly there with as far as new planeswalkers? It's not New Capenna, but we've seen Minsk and Boo from AFR, and that's a deck right there that Chain Veil will go in quite nicely. It lets you get a double. It lets you pump and then sacrifice the same turn, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think I'm with you.
Yeah,
Jason.
you can
Cards
summon Mince or
added back to
Boo
20.
only to kill him immediately, which is, well, that's a thing you can do.
4 draws, baby. Give it some pump spells, and you're looking at even more.
Woo!
I don't think this card dropped in price because of the list, because the list just really doesn't generally affect card prices that much, and I've never seen another card drop in price because of the list. But like, this is a very good pick. I did not know this had dwindled down to the I'm seeing like $13 range or so.
So sometimes there are cards whose price is just predicated on scarcity, and sometimes it's predicated on scarcity plus a Traxa just got printed. The price of Chain Veil was a perfect storm of like new relevance plus a pinch supply because nobody really wanted to buy. What was that, M15?
It was M15, and this card has gone through multiple spikes based on different rule changes or printings. And it does look like it's bottomed out.
And it has not been cheaper
mark,
since they printed Atraxa. It's never been this cheap.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, Atraxa was actually printed in like 2017, I think, or 2016, and Chain Veil was like $2 or $3 then, but...
Oh, you're saying before? Yeah, you're right.
I'm looking at the graph and like
since it started going up, was Atraxa the first time it went up? Because I really thought it was.
If Atraxa was printed in 2016, then that's when it started to move up. It spiked for the first time in 2017, which I think might have been the rules change.
No,
I don't remember.
It spiked to 20 in 2018.
It spiked from 2 to 6.
The point is, this card had lots of reasons to go up, and only one not great reason to go down. So I like it.
Well, no, I mean, cut all that, JJ.
You said 2017.
Oh, sure, man. It happened in literal December, whatever. Last 2 weeks.
What are you,
yes,
Norbs?
Years change, and like...
Woo! All right, man.
You can't just say like, oh yeah, December 2016. It is 2017 objectively. Like, that's not how dates work.
Didn't I say like, though?
No.
I almost definitely said like, just out of habit. Don't check the tape, though. I don't want to be wrong. Never check the tape.
All right. My pick
find a way to get in there, JJ, yeah.
All right, so my pick is based on this little teaser we had, and it is specifically based on the cats and dogs part. Our guest eloquently pointed out that there is a card that already makes cat and dog tokens. Its name is Rin and Siri Inseparable. It is a legendary creature from M19 that makes cats and dogs. It was the Buy a Box promo, and then it was also available through set boosters or what have you, and that was the only way to get non-foils. So non-foils of this are particularly hard to find, and foils generally have like some sort of LP wear and tear in my experience. I've never seen a near mint foil of this in my entire life, but I do note it is a very, very fast selling card for me. I have never had more than a playset of these in stock, I don't think, for more than a couple days. This card just sells and sells and sells on direct every single time. And they're hard to get in stock because nobody just opened a ton of them, or that they're all just squirreled away in unsleeved commander decks across the world. I don't think that this card stays sub 20 if there is a high concentration of cats and or dogs. So we have the card that makes cat and dog tokens, and then we have cat, citizen, and treasure dog. So there is a mob pet theme, I guess. I don't know if this is specifically related to the noir-esque bit of New Capenna, but we got cats and dogs, and Rin and Siri, I think, will be an increased in popularity with that.
Yeah, I'd kind of forgotten about that card, but that thing is very, very
cool card.
Powerful. Yeah. And very much like hard to see how they sort of top it as a dog cat lord, or how this would ever not
right, yeah,
be
like
relevant
it's like
in that.
they can print all the vampires they want, people will build Edgar.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. To an extent. Well, they're at least going to play Edgar and or the other vampires, right? And that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's hard for me to see if they're going to keep doing the dog cat thing in Magic, which they clearly are, a way for Rin and Ciri inseparable to not be relevant, you know? And it'd be very difficult for it to not be the best thing to do. It covers the most colors, you know? It's just, I like this pick a lot. I'm going to come in with a little bit of a modern pick here. Prismatic Ending has fallen down to $2. Just the basic version of Prismatic Ending for Modern Horizons 2. If you haven't been following competitive Magic over the last year or whatever, this is essentially the new Path to Exile. And Path to Exile, despite a billion printings, was always $5 to $8. And Prismatic Ending has one printing. Modern Horizons 2 now. There are several.
No, it has
it's got Modern Horizons and Modern Horizons Foil and Modern Horizons Etched Foil.
There are several sub.
Actually,
yeah.
There's just a couple versions of it, but they are all in Modern
There's
Horizons.
the gold stamped signature art card that shows up on TCG when I'm listing the card.
Yep. Oh my god.
Yep.
Ooh. I love the deck building sites I use, but man, you gotta not have those art cards show up. This is all Scryfall's fault, I'm sure. Like, ultimately, everybody's copying Scryfall's work, and they're like, you know what? You know what a paper town is? When they put a fake name of a town on a map to see if, like, a map maker is copying some other map maker's work. I bet Scryfall puts those art cards in there to be like, yep, they're scraping us too.
So anyways, yeah, Prismatic Ending at $2. It's just the cheapest version of it. Is I like I said, I don't see it going lower than that, even if it gets reprinted. And if it doesn't, it'll be $5.
MH2 is a bonkers set. There's going to be so many cards that are just like... Remember I talked about Seasoned Pyromancer when MH1 came out, and I was like, Seasoned Pyromancer seems good, and then everyone called me an idiot, and then 3 years later, I didn't have any copies when it went up.
That card's good.
Everything from MH2 seems like Seasoned Pyromancer. Every card. It's insane.
Yep, very powerful set. All right. Next up, what do you have for us, Jake?
well, I'll preface it by saying I don't know my ass from a hole in the ground when it comes to finance stuff.
That's a saying.
But as far as cards that seem like they're going to get a whole lot better, I reckon Berserk is about to get really, really good and really, really cool because of how it interacts
Berserk
with
so much.
Yeah, so do I. It's really cool art, either the original or the conspiracy one. The effect
it's a green Doomblade.
Yeah, it is also a green Doomblade.
It's a
the effect
green
is
Doomblade that plays
it's just so
Kingmaker at the
efficient.
same time.
Yeah.
Like, you get
It's
to have
crazy
player C
efficient.
murder player B, and then player C's creature dies anyway. It's great. I love Berserk.
Well, like in Minsk and Boo, you can. So let's say you've even just got Boo sitting at a 4/4, or you've grown him to a 7/7, or you've got another pump spell. You not only get through a monstrous hit by doubling it, you then down tick it, and you draw like upwards of a dozen cards at a time. And you're going to get the hamster back next turn as well. As long as you've got a couple of chump blockers, Minsk and Boo is going to live through it. I mean, even the down tick, when you blow Boo up, you get to deal all that damage somewhere, and that can be enough to either dome the player that you hit the first time, or just take the best creature off the board. Like, Berserk as a force multiplier, I think is absolutely nuts. And I put my money where my mouth is. I've got one coming in the mail as we speak.
All right, I think that pretty much wraps it up for us this week. There's been a lot going on in Magic, and it looks like there's going to be a lot more to come. The big OP announcement is coming up next week. Everyone's been talking about that. And there's always a ton happening in the world of Commander. And for that, you can follow Jake Fitzsimons across the internet. Jake, if people want to follow your content, where can they do so?
Reddit.
The absolute best place is to come to Commander's Herald, because you can read not just my stuff, but a whole bunch of other great stuff. We got like Travis Stanley and Michael Solani, Mike Carrozza, all working there. And if you just want direct, unfiltered me, follow me on Twitter, Jake at Jake _ Fitzsimons, FITZ 1S IMONS.
All right, well there you go. Everybody,
Well, shouldn't you emphasize there's one M?
Yeah, I started
thought
stuttering
too.
midway
Yeah.
through because I realized that even I was having trouble with my own last name. So I don't blame you if you do.
Oh, you have permission now, Jason. There you go.
I got him.
You got him.
You did get me.
Well, Jake, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it very much. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for we enjoyed having you, and hopefully all of our guests enjoyed this episode. All of our listeners enjoyed this episode as well. We appreciate you being here. We'll see you next week.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, we did it.